Alright, so the title of this video is Not Yet a Master, and that's how I feel right now. I'm reading this book by Osho, which is an extremely helpful book into helping me determine how to be a better martial arts teacher, to the point where maybe one day I will be a master. But the way I see it is that to get yourself to get to a high level in the martial arts is one thing, but trying to teach somebody to get to where you're at or above is a whole nother thing. Or not necessarily above, but just to get to where you're at. And basically, when I refer to master, I'm talking about somebody who's capable of getting somebody to where they're at. Not just somebody that's got to where to a certain level. And basically, he was using this example. There's something called the arhata, and then the master. The arhata is somebody who is enlightened, but he does not know how to teach somebody else to become enlightened. And then the master is somebody who's enlightened and can teach somebody to get to that, become enlightened as well. Now, when it comes to the martial arts, it's not just about becoming enlightened, but it's also involving fitness and combat. So the martial arts master not only has to teach the student to become extremely fit, but the master also has to teach the student to be proficient in combat. And then the master also has to teach the student to become enlightened. So he has a lot, ahead of him, a lot on his table, a lot to fulfill. Now, somebody like Bruce Lee was on the way to be a master, but he wasn't a master. He was an arhata, and Osho talks about it. He was making commentaries about J. Krishnamurti, and Osho was saying that J. Krishnamurti was an arhata. He was not a master. Osho is a master himself, but Krishnamurti was enlightened, but he was not a master. He was basically teaching people that that the way cannot be taught. And basically he was basically creating a bunch of egoists around him, and that's kind of what ended up happening with Bruce Lee as well, because Bruce Lee was very much into J. Krishnamurti's teachings, and Bruce Lee became a strong egoist as well. And then I got influenced by Bruce Lee's teachings, and then I started developing a lot of egoists, and that's where the fault comes in with J. Krishnamurti's teachings and Bruce Lee's teachings, is that both of them were not masters. But Osho is a master, Buddha was a master, and that's what I need to learn, to get to the point where I become a master. And it's gonna take a lot of work. As far as the fitness, I know I could get somebody to be fit. The combat, I know I could teach that, somebody to get to a pretty high level in the combat. But with the spirit, with the meditation, that's the challenge. That's the part where I don't have down. And that's the thing that I need to learn, to figure out how to get somebody to become enlightened. To develop my own techniques into getting a person to be, reach enlightenment. And it's going to take time. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but I know that I'm not there yet. It's a work in progress, and I keep reading all these books to try to figure out the best method. And I'm just very thankful and pretty surprised and amazed that I was able to find this book by Osho at this point in my life to really try to help me figure out the proper method, to guiding people towards enlightenment. Currently right now, I have kind of like a basic framework of how to get people there, but without the enlightenment, without the person being able to teach another to reach enlightenment, there's no way the person can be a master. And Bruce Lee wasn't a master. He died at 32. you know and for me, I'm 34. I'm still not a master, and I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get to that point. But I know in the past that I developed a lot of people to become very strong egoists, and that was basically the problem with Bruce Lee's teaching and J. Krishnamurti, is it's teaching people to have stronger egos, and that's clearly the opposite. That's not the way. That's like the opposite of where you want them to be. So there has to be a method of teaching people to reach enlightenment, and Bruce Lee didn't even come close to introducing those methods because he himself was not able to teach people to become enlightened. But he was certainly on the path of getting there. And right now it's only Osho that I turn to towards that guidance, and figuring out how to teach somebody to get towards enlightenment, to become enlightened. And this might be something where it might not be till I'm like over 50 or over 60 before I figure out a method where it's effective, and I could start teaching people to reach towards enlightenment, and then continue on with their fitness development and their combative development, and then basically develop a person to become and represent a martial artist holistically, body, mind, and spirit.